All right, so I'm doing my health project over the Alzheimer's disease. I'm going to talk about the history of it, what is Alzheimer's specifically, who it affects, how it affects, the scientific research that's going on, the clinical trials that are happening, and then I'm going to emphasize on treatments that they're using there's no cure for it, but they are using treatments, and we're going to emphasize on the treatment of music and the effect that this has on people with Alzheimer's. All right, so in order to move on, we need to understand what exactly Alzheimer's is. Alzheimer's is an irreversible and progressive disease that is in the brain. It slowly destroys your memory and your thinking skills, which makes it hard to do everyday tasks. The earliest symptoms usually happen within the mid 60s, and symptoms can range from mild to moderate to severe. It is said that over 5 million Americans have Alzheimer's, which is an estimated number, and that it is the sixth leading cause of death in America, which and some argue that it is considered the third behind cardiovascular diseases and cancer, and it's ranked third because of the death among death among elderly people. Um, so this is the Alzheimer's is like the leading cause of dementia, which is the loss of cognitive functioning, thinking, remembering, and reasoning. This interferes with behavioral abilities, which result in loss of everyday life functions. This is why most people with Alzheimer's end up in a nursing home, which makes it very hard on families. All right, so the history of Alzheimer's. First of all, the name comes from Alois Alzheimer, which was a scientist who discovered in 1906 changes in brain tissue after a woman died from an unusual mental illness. No one knew what was wrong with her, but after she died, um, Alois Alzheimer he looked at the brain and he found abnormal clumps and tangled bundles of fiber in the brain. These are now called amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. These remain some of the main features of Alzheimer's in the brain today. Other features consist of loss of connections between the and nerve cells in the brains, and these neurons is what they're called. They transmit messages from the brain to the rest of the body. So what's happening in Alzheimer's is they can't control their brain, and the messages aren't getting sent to the rest of their body. So that's why they can't control themselves. So how the research from this disease has changed over time is back in 1906, whenever they first discovered, when Alois Alzheimer discovered these imperfections in the brain. They had no idea what was happening. But then throughout the years, they saw the same things happening over and over, and they finally um, realized that it was a mental illness that was, well, they don't know the exact cause of it, but they were able to relate it to the neurons being detached and the brain dying. So now that they know what exactly Alzheimer's is, there are several trials or clinical trials that are being done today that none of them have been able to find a cure yet, but they're doing things such as like learning what drugs do what to the brain and how it can slow things down, or trying to find sequences in events that are causing Alzheimer's. So although there's no cure, the science that is being performed towards this disease is helping us further the cure or the treatment for the Alzheimer's disease. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, Alzheimer's is very progressive in America. There's over 5 million people that have Alzheimer's that have been diagnosed with this disease. For example, the percent of long-term care services use that people that are diagnosed with Alzheimer's that use care. In adult day services, the participants with Alzheimer's is 29.9%. In residential community residents, it's 39.6%. Home health agency patients that have Alzheimer's is 31.4%. Hospice patients with Alzheimer's is 44.7%, and nursing home residents that have Alzheimer's is 50.4%. So we can see that a huge amount of people that are needing these cares have Alzheimer's. And although there's no disease, or there's no cure for this disease, there are several treatments. One of the main treatments is drugs, just straight pills that are helping them to be cured, but there's no cure. And what we see happening is drugs such as donepezil, galantamine, mematine. Donepezil is one of the biggest ones. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but basically these are slowing down the process of the neurons being affected in the brain. But all this is doing to the residents in these nursing homes is making them unsocial, unrelational, very sad, almost vegetable-like. I mean, there's several documentaries and videos that show how these drugs are affecting these patients, and sure, they're not getting the disease isn't affecting them as bad, but it's definitely not curing them. It's making them unhappy. It's making them not have any friends, and it's just making them miserable. And one of the biggest reasons that we're studying this and scientists are trying to figure out a cure for this or treatments for this is because this could happen to anybody. There's no reason that it's happening to certain people or not, and like we don't want to see ourselves like that whenever we get older. So one of the coolest treatments that I'm going to talk about is music. There's been several studies done that show that music triggers deep memories in patients that don't remember anything. They've been in the nursing home for several years, and they're very unsocial and everything, and they're just given drugs all the time. But someone brings them an iPod, and they listen to music that they listened to when they were younger, and suddenly they remember things, and it is amazing. Watch this video of this guy named Henry and the effect that it has on him.
Henry is one of the 5 million people in America with dementia.
Hi, Papa. Hi, Papa.
Huh?
How you doing?
All right. Fine. Wait.
Who am I?
I don't know. Wait a minute. I don't know.
Okay, it's Jerry. How long has he been in the nursing home? Approximately 10 years. Of course it affected me greatly because he was always, fun-loving. I remember as a child, he used to walk us down the street, me and my brother, and he would stop and do Singing in the Rain. He would have us jumping and swinging around poles.
His name is Henry Dreyer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking more or less for religious music for him. Because he enjoys music and he always quoting the Bible.
We first see Henry inert, maybe depressed, unresponsive, and almost unalive.
Henry.
Yeah?
Henry.
Yes,
I found your music.
Then he is given an iPod containing, we know, his favorite music. And immediately he lights up. His face assumes expression, his eyes open wide, and he's being animated by the music.
And he used to always sit on the unit with his head like this. He didn't really talk to much people. And then when I introduced the music to him, this is his reaction ever since.
The philosopher Kant once called music the quickening art, and Henry is being quickened, he's being brought to life.
I'm going to give it back to you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The effect of this doesn't stop, because when the headphones are taken off, Henry, normally mute, virtually unable to answer the simplest yes or no questions.
Yeah, I'm crazy about music. You play beautiful music, beautiful sound. Beautiful.
Did you play music when you were? Did you like music when you were young?
Yes, I went to big dances and things.
What was your favorite music when you were young?
Well, I guess, Cab Calloway was my number one fan guy. I like it.
What was your favorite Cab Calloway song?
Oh, out beyond the You can count and plan on me with plenty of snow, mistletoe, present, reverend, you free. Ow.
So, in some sense, Henry is restored to himself. He has remembered who he is, and he's reacquired his identity for a while through the power of music.
Wow, isn't that such an awesome story? This clip is from a documentary called Alive Inside, and it is about this program called Music and Memory, and I believe that this it's on Netflix now, and it is a great movie to watch. So I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, this the technique of listening to music is affecting so many people's lives, and not only is it affecting the patient's life, but it's affecting their family's life, because the families are affected so bad whenever they're watching their family member basically die in the condition that they're in, and there's nothing that can help them. So basically, what this music does is it impacts a part of the brain that has been deadened. Um, and what it does is, like, when you're listening to it, it triggers parts of the brain that are connected to memory, emotion, all those types of things, learning, and it deepens them, and it allows you to connect this music with like a face of a person, or connects the music with a memory. So like Henry in that clip, he listened to the music, and he was able to remember, not only give just the song title of his favorite artist, but he was able to sing it. And you could tell, I mean, you could just tell with his facial expression that the music was doing so much that those drugs didn't do. You heard the nurse say he was always super quiet and had his head down, but this music, I mean, his eyes got super big and he was happy. This is what the music does. It wakes the patients up, and it's not a cure by any means, but it is definitely helping the patients get through life with this disease. It's waking their brains up. It's making them connect to memories that they would never be able to connect to otherwise. It's making them happy, and letting them remember who they used to be, and be intact with who they were, because in a sense they're losing themselves whenever they are affected by this disease. So what this organization does, Music and Memory, it's a great organization. They they train people to find out the music that their patients like and download to an iPod, and basically just give the patients the iPod given to nursing homes. And it's a nonprofit organization, and you're allowed to donate. You're able to donate old MP3 players, iPods, these things that go towards this organization. And so it's an amazing organization, and it's doing things that these drugs otherwise cannot do. For a disease that's incurable, it is making the ends of these people's lives much happier than it would be just sitting in a nursing bed dying. So yeah, that's my research project. That is Alzheimer's, and even though there's no cure, music is definitely a treatment that is worth considering. Thank you.